All right. Thank you, Megan. So Megan's going to give you guys an overview of DFR, which is designed for retrieval. And it has different modules. The first module she's in is Smart Class. We've moved all of our capabilities for building classification structures onto the web. So that's a big release for us. And basically, you're seeing most of it here in this demo. But Smart Class is where we build the category structure, where we assign the attributes, and then you set up the individual attribute properties, which kind of drives the validations for the data, which will show you, like she'll show you how we, for the string attributes, how we create the pick lists, and then how we use those pick lists to cleanse the data. Because like you said, the product line managers, they'll get close to putting the right information in there, but maybe not exactly right. And we can show you how we can fix that in this demo. But why don't you walk them through? So can you just show the structure, Megan, quickly here? So we can manage very large structures. So you guys don't have a structure. Everything's flat in one spreadsheet. So one of the things we're going to recommend that'll make it so much easier for your product line managers is you kind of break all the data out into a category structure, so that when we send it out to product line managers to collect the information, they're only looking at the fields that are applicable to the products you need data from them for. So I think that'll be probably a huge relief to the product line managers. That so that's why we have this structure, and we could probably create it right from your spreadsheet. We just need to know which attributes apply to which products, and we could basically create a structure like this, like Megan is showing. So is that something that you guys, did you ever consider doing something like that?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's what Miles is working on, extracting the data from the system and doing an analysis to make templates that are only applicable to the product line and that have choices that are only applicable for those facets in that product line. That's what he's been working on.
Okay, great.
Exactly. And that's where the huge manual lift comes in, because we can certainly do it. But I'm interested to hear about how this might automate it, given the data. That's an interesting point that you brought up. Yes.
And, we're looking at a spreadsheet here. We're looking at, this is your latest classification structure that everyone has access to. So you're not hunting down a spreadsheet somewhere, right? Everyone has access to this. This is the live view that everyone has access to of your classification structure that she's showing. So, all right, Megan. So why don't you?
Quick question on that.
Sure.
If there's a data model change on the Hybris side, how easy and quickly can this be modified to reflect adjustments that happen in the end system?
So one of the things that we find is our system is that we haven't met a system that's more flexible than ours in terms of managing, like what you just described, data model changes. So don't worry about us. It's incredibly easy for us to make category, add an attribute to a category, create a new category, take an existing category, break it up into different categories. That's all very easy to do in our software. If Megan shows you, like if you right click on a category, Megan, you can show them how you can copy attributes, you can create a new category. It's only those who have the rights in the classification structure that can do that, Miles, by the way. It's not opened up.
That's
good.
It's
all permission driven.
Perfect. That's good. That's really good.
All right. So now she's on these are the attributes on a category called scroll compressors, and there's, now you guys have like over 200 attributes. How many attributes do you typically have per product?
For the average product line, it could be anywhere from 100 to 1,000. Like a cable might have less than an actual piece of hardware, but it can get pretty extensive.
Okay. Wow. So these attributes that Megan is showing you, like connection type that she's got selected here, there can be 100 other attributes called connection type on different categories. And one of the things that we can do is we can have we can set up the properties on the connection type to be different by category. So that's another piece. That's another flexibility. That way, you're not having to create a lot of
Yeah.
extra. You don't have to create a lot of. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. All the
Yeah,
all the extra attributes you have to
definitely.
create.
That's one of the big problems that I've seen and kind of shaking my head at times is if we need to create or if we're looking to add a new piece of data to a product, if we can't find the related attribute, we're very quick to just create a new one. So it would be great to be able to see more clearly what already exists. That way we're not continuing to add attributes. Because I would venture to say a large portion of those attributes are duplicates or semi-duplicates that we just couldn't find the old one.
Yep, that's the big thing we will mitigate is exactly what you just said, which is people creating too many of the same attributes. We can mitigate that in many different ways, you know, from like the role-based permission and who's allowed to edit a category or create an attribute to just being able to give you visit. I think if you click on connection type, can you show what categories this attribute's used on? It'll even show you like a where used.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, so you can see what categories.
Yeah, so it's on just a slightly different screen. We were here in classification. I just went down one to attributes and then
This is the master attribute list that Megan
typing.
is looking at right now. So now you can't create, it's very obvious if you start creating 20 attributes that have the word connection in it and then you realize half of them are duplicates, they would show up right here. So
Just
look at
how many
That's really
different
good.
categories this is in. It's a huge
Yeah.
list.
Okay, that's good to see. I like that.
And then you can,
Is
you
this
know,
us?
no, no, this is our demo environment.
Okay.
But then you can click right into those as well, and it'll take you back to that classification area, and it'll take you straight to, you know, what you had selected. So you can then go and say, well, maybe I don't want this on here, in which case you could just simply remove it or add a new one, anything like that. So that's a very useful. In fact, I know like Victor and myself, like we use that function all of the time. The categories used in it is very, very helpful.
Hey, Megan, we got like 7 minutes. I think we got to show them the big thing that I know Miles wanted to see is how to normalize the
Sure.
using the.
Okay, so the connection type on scroll compressors, for example. So what we would want to do is create an allowed values list or a list of values. I'm not sure which way y'all are using that term. So currently there's no list. I will assign one.
So now she's seeing those are all the unique values. Oh, you're creating a list. Okay.
Yeah. We'll apply. If that list already exists, it will tell you so as well. So it's hard to do duplicate lists. I will assign this.
And you can share lists across attributes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So then it will refresh real quickly. I'll bring it back again. And now we see that that's been assigned, but I am going to click this drop down here and select edit. Which now one good thing is you'll see that it says add suggested, which is 17 values that already exist in the data in the scroll compressors category under connection type. So you don't have to go with those though. You can load in an Excel, I'm sorry, a CSV Excel file that could have just hundreds or thousands of different values, which is it's a very easy load. Also, you can just type in anything that you want to add as well. But we're going to add the values, add all. But just for this, I want to remove 2 of them. Yep. And the other one. So now it goes back to suggested because it's telling me these are still here. So one way to double check that is going to be in this, the unsmart find, which, oops, if I had it right. So in Smart Find, and I will find my scroll compressors. And by the way, the AVLs, the allowed values lists, are what make up these different filters here on the left-hand side. So you'll notice the two that I removed are not in here, but everything else is. So you get to control what you want to see in these filters as well. I'm going to select this one, and you'll see all of your information at the bottom. But if I go into edit, then I can take that connection type and say that I know it's not stub. I can go and just change it to ODF right there. I mean, just right in the edit screen. Again, permission driven. So as long as someone has the capability to edit, to view and edit, then they can go ahead and make these changes. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the option to change them. But you can go ahead and change from anything, and you would just save it. Now, as far as the validation errors, we have the other side of our software called the DFR thick client. And what I've done is I went ahead and came straight on to compressors. I put myself in a validation mode with my batch of scroll compressors. And now I'm just going to validate.
So the validation, so you're setting all these attributes you set up for the category of properties that drive the validation results. Now, this is more of a data admin task, not your standard
For sure.
user would do.
And so now we can go down and see.
Oh, sorry. This is hitting exactly at what we're spending so much time doing, and I'm seeing like issues are highlighted. This is basically exactly what we're looking to build in Excel, but way more complete and easier and more automated. So it's very good to see this. I think we'd spend a lot of time in here.
Yeah, I personally love data developer. I love doing the validations. Like for example, you saw the two suggested values that I removed. One of them is right here. So and it even says right here, braised is not one of the allowed values. So that helps when you have some maybe some users are adding values that either you don't accept or there's data that is just blatantly wrong. Maybe this was a typo, but it will flag in pink saying that there's something wrong. And then once you scroll over, it does say it is not an allowed value. So at that point, you can add it straight from here and just, whoops.
Oh, that's good.
Yep. Whoa. Oh, I didn't have it assigned to me. So let me assign that first.
So
And come back.
we're like running out of time here.
No worries. What I'm thinking real quick, if it's okay, I was going to write up a little bit about our workflow that we're thinking of doing from Hybris to Excel to something like this back to Hybris. And then we can shoot some emails back and forth about how that might work.
Yes, I think it would be good to look at what you're sending to Hybris and what sort of issues you guys are having loading into Hybris. It'd be good to understand kind of how that system works. Does it take XML files as an example for loading? Or does it have a specific load format?
Right.
MPEX.
Yeah. So, in fact, I know we're out of time, but real quick, we're working with IT on an extra process to get past the Impex. So previously we would export to Impex and then re-import with Impex, but IT is working on a way to bring that Impex into Excel. So we would see the Excel export as it came out of Hybris. We would make the adjustments, do the validation, and send the Excel sheet back to Hybris, and then IT handles the import. So as long as we could have Excel in, Excel out, that's a real simple workflow.
Yep.
And then we could always look at Impex later.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can have our developers talk to your developers on, we could certainly support Excel, but sometimes XML tends to be more efficient, and I don't understand that because I'm not technical, but we could certainly support Excel.